How to perform an approach in the Cessna 172R? Plan the descent so the airplane is at the traffic pattern altitude 90 knots at least 2 miles before turning downwind. A 45-degree entry should be made so the turn to downwind happens midfield for the runway of intended landing. Fly downwind so the airplane is approximately 0.8 to 1 mile from the runway. Look outside to maintain a path that is parallel to the runway. Set power to maintain 90 knots. Maintain traffic pattern altitude plus or minus 100 feet. Call for and perform before landing checklist. Downwind leg, the beam touchdown point. Reduce power to approximately 1,300 to 1,500 revolutions per minute. Maintain altitude and decrease airspeed by slowly pitching up. At or below 110 knots, call out below 110, flaps 10, that flaps to 10 degrees. Begin descent, maintain 80 knots and approximately 500 feet per minute in descent and trim airplane. Base leg. Turn base when the airplane is 45 degrees from the intended touchdown point. Turns to base should be made with 20 degrees to 25 degrees of bank, 30 degrees maximum. After the turn is complete, confirm airspeed is below 85 knots, call out below 85, flaps 20 and set flaps to 20 degrees. Begin slowing to 70 knots. Consider approach path and make pitch and power adjustments as necessary to maintain 70 knots and proper approach path. Adjust airplane heading to compensate for any wind drift. The airplane heading should be adjusted so the airplane ground track is perpendicular to the runway centerline. If the airplane is too high/fast for normal power adjustments, flaps may be increased to 30 degrees while still on the base leg. If the airplane is low/slow, flaps should be delayed until the airplane is on proper airspeed/path, since the addition of flaps will delay recovery to proper airspeed/path. Pilots should assess their current situation and make a decision about the pitch and or power changes that need to be made and make those corrections in a timely manner. Before turning final, visually check that the final approach path is clear, no traffic. Plan turn to final so the turn will be at a bank angle of 20 degrees to 25 degrees and the airplane becomes wings level on runway's centerline. If airplane overshoots final, do not bank more than 30 degrees and do not use rudder to minimize overshoot. That is dangerous and is an automatic fail on stage checks. After the turn is complete, confirm airspeed is below 85 knots and announce. Below 85, flaps 30. And set flaps to 30 degrees. Adjust pitch and power to maintain a correct airspeed and proper glide path. Any deviations in airspeed or glide paths should be corrected as early as possible in the approach. If gusty conditions exist, add 1/2 of the gust factor to the final approach speed. Example, wind is reported to be 10 knots, gusting 16 knots, the gust factor is 6 knots, and 3 knots should be added to final approach speed. At 200 feetical, confirm. 1. Airplane is stable, the airplane is on proper glide path, is within 5 knots of final approach speed, is in the final landing configuration and requires no more large pitch/power changes. 2. Runway is clear, the runway is clear of all traffic and there are no vehicles or obstructions on the runway. If an airplane is on the runway but the pilot anticipates it will be no factor, then you may continue, but use caution as a go-around may be necessary. The pilot should announce when the runway finally becomes clear. 3. Airplane has a clearance, pilot is cleared to land, touch and go, low approach, etc. If all three requirements are met, the airplane may continue for landing. Perform a short final check and continue. Short final check, say aloud as callouts. 1. Stabilized. 2. Runway is clear. 3. Cleared _ clear to land, touch and go, for the option. Example. Stabilized, landing airplane is on the runway, cleared for a touch and go or stabilized. Runway is clear, cleared to land. If any of the above requirements are not met, the pilot should initiate a go-around. Do not continue the approach unless all the requirements are met. Common errors and solutions. 1. Not maintaining a stable path. A stable path is key to a good landing. Airspeed control alone is not enough to be considered stable. 2. Waiting until too close to the runway to get on path. The airplane needs to be on a stable approach as soon as possible on final. Waiting until short final is not good enough. 3. Poor centerline control. The airplane needs to be on a stable approach as soon as possible on final. Waiting until short final is not good enough. 4. Becoming low and not immediately correcting. Being low on final is dangerous. When the airplane becomes low, the pilot should immediately begin a correction to get on glide path again. 5. Maintaining a target power setting. Recommended power settings are only an initial target for descent. For final approach, the pilot should concentrate on maintaining a desired airspeed and glide path and should no longer maintain any specific power setting. Pilots should consider all aspects of the environment and maintain a power and pitch combination that maintains the desired path/airspeed.